This right here is my abandoned 300ZX. I bought it off of a driveway. It hadn't moved in 9 years. And if you haven't seen the last video, basically, we've run into a few problems. Welcome back to the third episode on rebuilding this abandoned 300ZX. Now, you would have seen in the last video, we found out that the head gasket needed to be done. So that is what we are going to do today. Now the first thing we are going to do is get it nice and safely sat on some jack stands so we can work on the car and we're not breaking our back every time we want to do something. And like with any old project car, you need to spend at least half an hour crawling around on your hands and knees looking for parts on the car where it is safe to lift up from. Apparently this car doesn't have any. Nice. So after about an hour of fighting with the jack stands and the rust, we finally got the car up in the air. And of course it is always good to hear the sound of something important snapping minutes before you're supposed to get under the car. Now, just to make sure the car was safe and it wasn't going to fall over, we did a few precautionary safety checks.
Right, what's it saying? Level. But is it level though?
Look at that and tell me that's not dead and right.
So after those super safe checks, we lifted the bonnet, looked at the engine and realised just how much work we had to do. And I have to say a big shout out to the Japanese engineers behind this car for leaving us this beautiful inspection hatch to see the inside tread depth on your tyres. Through the hole to the tread of the tyre.
Inspection.
Oh man. So today's mission is getting everything off. First comes off the nose cone, then the radiator. Now to make our lives easier, we're just going to whip the bonnet off. It's only held in by 4 bolts. And here's me and Hayden convincing ourselves that it's not that bad. Now we've got to take this fan off, but it's really hard to get to the 4 bolts holding it in. Again, the world's tightest engine bay. But with a bit of gentle persuasion, that fan popped right off. Now the fan is off, we've got to take the cover for this timing belt off. These are the state of the bolts holding it in. That's actually not too bad. But these ones are going to be a pain. So is, well, all of them. I think we're going to end up drilling a few of these out. Hopefully not. And before we take this off, these wires have got to come out of the way. They're easy, they're literally just clip in. Good, making progress. And so far so good. We haven't actually come across any major problems. But saying that, we've only done about 5% of the work needed to actually solve the problem. So now, as you can see, I'm pulling out all the injectors and I'm using this white chalk pen to write as many notes and little numbers as possible so I remember when it comes to putting it all back. So, another update. We now have all 6 of the coils out. The sparks are still in there to stop anything falling in while we're not ready yet. There's all the coils there. I'm in the engine again because we can't get the timing belt cover off because of the state of these bolts, and there's so many. Brother, like, you're not getting those out. The throttle body has to come off. Now we're thinking we undo the 4 bolts there, 2 there that we've already undone, and then again this mirror, so 4 there. If we undo those, will that just lift out? In theory, it's got to come out anyway. So if we lift it out, then that's out of the way. Then we've got all those wires. This is all loose anyway. You give it a go. That's the thermostat, isn't it?
That's the thermostat. It's been off before. You can tell by the silicone. They've done a nice job of that.
Lovely.
Hey!
Hell yeah!
I You just skim my arm on your bonnet as well.
Oh! Hey, little guy. Are you okay?
Speaker for the alarm.
I haven't got the key for it.
Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, behold.
Just gotta get the other bit off.
Oh!
Close.
Well, that was it. Is that a 7?
It's an 8. Try a 7.
It's just not working, is it? It is just not working. We are calling it a day here. Time is 6:26. We have been here for 9 hours and
A bit.
9.5 hours. Oh man, why did I buy this car? So it is now day 2 on working on the head gasket, trying to get the head off. However, I've just picked up something that I think is going to help a lot. An extractor kit and a bolt remover. Because we were on a bolt for about an hour and a half. That is going to fit in it. And if that doesn't work, then that will bite the outside. So we're going to try both of those to get the last cover, the last bolt off of the time limit cover. The bolt in question sitting there, and that is what we can't seem to get out. And if that doesn't work and then that doesn't work, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to have to snap the cover, which I don't really want to do. I don't want to be replacing stuff that isn't necessarily needing to be replaced. But we're going to try this first and then try this, and then if it doesn't work, we're going to go from there. And spoiler alert, it didn't work. I'm sure everyone is now sick and tired of seeing this engine and this same old view, but everything on this side is disconnected now and it lifts. I'm struggling to get it off this side, and then I noticed these 2 bolts here that were holding a sensor. They were holding that in, but I'm wondering, because it's mirrored on that side, I wonder if I undo that, because that seems to go into the head, if that is the last thing. And you'll never believe it, those 2 bolts were the last thing holding that intake manifold in. Yes. Yes. And I cannot tell you enough just how much relief it is that this is now finally off the engine. So now the manifold is off there on the floor. Sun is still out. It is 25, 26 degrees. But the solution to all my problems outside of this car, an umbrella. Winning. This is just the best thing that's happened all day. So now I've blocked up the holes that are sitting underneath the intake manifold, because I don't want to be dropping bolts or anything down there that end up doing more damage later down the line. It is still very hot and we've achieved quite a lot taking that manifold off, so we're going to pack up and we're going to come back again tomorrow. Now before this video goes any further, I just want to take a few seconds and say a few things. If you can't tell by now already in this video, we don't actually know exactly what we're doing. We have a rough idea, but rough idea isn't that good when it comes to doing a massive rebuild like what we're doing now. But I'm going to apologise in advance for anything that we say wrong or do wrong going ahead with the rest of the video and the rest of the series. Now with the engine that we have, after a few upgrades, they're capable of 800 plus horsepower, which is mental for a 31-year-old car. And that's also probably why it's taken us so long. Workshop manuals say this engine can be stripped down in 24 hours. But we are now 3 days in and we've only just taken the intake manifold off. Now what I noticed off camera was maybe trying to take the engine apart inside the car was a bit too ambitious. As you're about to see, I've called in a few favours and we're about to get this car back to its bare shell, something we should have done right from the start. There is no point having so much stuff in the way, making our lives even harder for ourselves, so we're going to spend the first few hours of the day
taking everything off and getting everything out of the way and just seeing where we are at the end. Anyways, back to the video. So we are wasting no time, we're going to get straight into it. Hayden's on the floor with his impact, taking off the driver's front wing. Sam is on the other side, taking off the passenger side front wing. That is so rusted. And the second it comes off, you can just see the amount of rust that is on the brackets. Now, it is all small things like this that are going to add up, which I think are going to be making this car really expensive. Now, we're then taking apart the front wings and the bumpers because they're screwed in together. Now, behind the bumper, because it's UK spec, you have the headlight cleaners. So we're disconnecting those, and then we're going to drag that bumper away. Now we take off all front end panels, and then we're looking at what the best thing to take off next is. And that is when Hayden comes up with this cracking piece of advice.
Get a trailer, take it down to the strippers. Get your
money
money back.
Yep, you know who your friends are.
Hello there.
Now this is where I put down the camera because it was all hands on deck. We were taking off the headlights, we were taking off hoses, the washer bottles, every bit of metal and plastic that was in the way that didn't need to be there was coming off of this car one way or another. And it was all going so well until... Show me. What is that?
That sludge. That's not good. Oh, Josh, look at the wear on it. Josh, man, you need new cams, bro. Yeah. Man, this,
smells good, doesn't
this
it?
engine might be done. This engine might actually be finished, Josh.
And to make things even better, we took off the other side.
These days. No. Oh, Lord.
It's not very good either, is it?
That's probably just as bad. I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Oh no, wait.
That doesn't
They share
look
the
good,
same
does
block.
it?
Why am I surprised? They share the same block,
Oh,
don't they?
of course, yeah.
So the water goes down into the oil and it comes up.
So it really isn't looking good. What we thought was just replacing a head gasket might actually turn out to be something a lot worse. And just by taking off those two cam covers, my wallet is already starting to cry. Now when I bought this car I had no idea. I thought it was going to be quite a simple fix, but it's looking like it's the complete opposite. Now we have one of two options. We can carry on trying to take the heads off and fix the head gasket inside the car, or we make our lives easier and we just take the whole engine out. Which I didn't really want to do, but after seeing the condition of those cams, we might be left with no choice. This car might need a complete brand new engine. No! So, that is what we are going to do. So we are wasting no time, we're getting straight into it. Fortunately, we had an engine hoist handy, so we get that strapped up. So the engine and the gearbox were now disconnected. The only thing that was holding it together was the torque converter. So after about an hour of fiddling around, a lot of bruised knuckles and a few Google searches, the engine came apart. And it was just a case of disconnecting a few odd pipes and sensors that we hadn't taken off beforehand. And once all that was done, it was ready to come out.
It's out of the car, man.
And here it is in all its glory. A non-running twin-turbo VG30DE, a 31-year-old Nissan engine. After weeks and days of trying to get this engine out, we are finally out. It is unbearable the amount of bolts that have snapped just trying to get this stuff out. Incredible. So today is like November 25th, I believe. We started recording this video in June. What an impossible task it has been getting this engine out, but it is finally out, and
we have got some work to do on this, let me tell you. So this is what we've got to deal with. Look at the size of this, of where this engine was. Like, they're my feet underneath here. This is a massive engine bay. That was a pain getting off. That was what was holding the whole thing in. Now, ideally, I believe we're supposed to drop the gearbox and the engine at the same time, but I haven't got a workshop, I haven't got a ramp to do it. We've had to make do, and we've just made the best that we can do out of this quite difficult situation. But all of these wires, all of these here, I mean, all this stuff is so unnecessary, and anyone that's watching this having a 300, they know that this is ridiculous, and all this stuff is just so overkill. All these hoses, they just don't do, they have their purposes, of course, but why do we need 50,000 of them everywhere? All this stuff here is like, and that's just from what is left in the car. Stuff that isn't left in the car, we've already taken out. It's filled up the boot. So we've got radiators, you've got both the headlights, the manifold. There is stuff everywhere. So the main important thing was getting the engine out so we can work on it inside in the dry. So when the cold winter months do come and the temperatures drop below freezing, we don't really want to be outside touching this. That was the main idea, get the engine out before it gets freezing inside the workshop where we can actually work on it. So by the time the spring comes around and it starts to get warm, hopefully we've got an engine to put back in this. Then it's nice, should be smooth sailing. I said smooth sailing before. Smooth sailing, get the engine back into it, get it all attached up. Then it's just really suspension, brakes and cosmetics, and then the car's done. I say that with optimism. I say it with optimism. It's probably not going to be that straightforward, but we can hope. I am now going to go and clean up all of these wires, everything here, get this car as clean as possible, and I'm going to get it wrapped up, because there is no point it being out left like this, especially when the cold comes. It's already been cleaned once, and this is the state of it. So we're going to get this cleaned up, we're going to get it wrapped up, and then get this engine into this workshop and start getting it taken apart, stripped back down, and ready to go back in. Hopefully next year. We've got the aim, April next year, that this car is done. So I'll wrap this video up. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Apologies again for how long it's taken to get out. It's not an easy task getting an engine out of a car, but we are back on track. Even if it's slightly delayed, we're making progress. Engine's out, engine's in the workshop. We're going to start working on it very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.
That's a terrible view.
That's the face of a man who doesn't know what he's put himself into.